Good morning. Morning. Hope you all are well. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through a day in my life as an occupational therapist. So, obviously, I just woke up and my voice is a bit cold and hoarse. So, yeah, it'll warm up as the day goes by. It's quite difficult to shoot this kind of video because not all days are the same, but it'll give you a feeling and a gist of what activities normally for my day. As you can see, I'm in my workout gear and I've got my yoga mat behind me, and this is like the most difficult thing I can do in any day, working out. So at least I know if I get this out of the way, then I'll be ready to face all the challenges of the day. So it's a good way to physically and mentally prepare myself for the day. Yeah, so I'm just doing something light to stretch and warm up my body more than anything. So I'll just be doing some Pilates because that's a fave. Yeah, just to prepare myself mentally and physically for the day. I also don't know what's going to happen today, so it's going to be as much of a surprise to you as it will be to me. But anyway, hope you enjoy. Welcome to my workplace. So we are in the treatment room where all the magic happens at the moment. The room isn't really set up for treatment yet, but we'll do that in a bit. So today is Tuesday, the 11th of August 2020. It's the Tuesday after a long weekend, so we're feeling recharged, we're feeling energized, we're ready to go. So on a Tuesday, we have what we call e-health talk, and that's where we talk about things health related. So it can range from diabetes to psychoeducation about mental illness, medication, healthy lifestyle, ADLs, reintegration into community, things like that. But today, seeing that it is Women's Month and shortly after Women's Day, we are going to be talking about just getting there, because most of the client base is males, so just getting their perception about women, how they view women, their treatment of women, to low-key more indirectly address gender-based violence. So that's what we are going to be doing today. Also, we haven't been having therapy for a while because of the lockdowns. We had to suspend most of our services. So this is actually the first time that we're doing health talk in a very long time. So I'm excited. I don't know, the patients are excited as well because they haven't been here in a while and they've expressed that they've been missing it. So I'm really excited for that. And also just like hearing the perspectives, and also just challenging them, so that they come out of this better individuals and better men, in our societies. So yeah, that's what morning is going to look like. I didn't pack lunch today. So I'm sad. But we will continue. We shall prosper. Man shall not live on bread alone. So, yeah.
Yes, Cindy, it's like we call on we do, la, izifo Nkosi ezizosulelayo Nkosi yami. Sicela leyo nto ke nathi Nkosi, ungene nathi Nkosi, uzawuphinda uphume nathi Nkosi. Sifuna kubekho umahluko Nkosi, njengoba sithandaza nje. Sawufika emakhayeni kuthi noba yintoni na ibisenzeka kuwe i-abuse Nkosi yami, ube nokuthethelela bawam, kubekho utshintsho Nkosi yami. Fikelela apha ngaphandle, fikelele khona Yesu Kristu Nkosi yami.
I just came from the health talk now, and it was a very fruitful, enlightening, educational, thought-provoking, I hope to believe life-changing experience, not only for myself but for the patients as well. A lot of things came out of it actually. So we first spoke about what constitutes as and what is violence. Also, first just orientating them to why we're actually doing this session now. So going into Women's Month, what's that about? History behind Women's Month. The riots and fight for equality and the right to vote being one of those forms of equality, and just taking a quick look at where we started off in 1964, where we are now, 1956. Pardon me, it's been 64 years. 1956, where we are now, and also like what is violence? What does violence against women look like? The common forms that it takes, and also I let the group do most of the talking, and just leading them and enlightening them, or just like adding some insight where it was necessary. And yeah, there was a lot again that came out of it. So for me it was great to see that they were able to articulate what violence is, the different forms that it takes, and also the insight they were able to provide in terms of the factors that contribute towards violence. And I think one of the things that stood out the most, and also was a closing remark, was how factors leading or factors contributing to one's upbringing can lead to acts of violence in a person's adulthood. So one of the users shared how he grew up in adverse situations, grew up in poverty, and if he chose to, that could have made him be someone who's also a perpetrator of violence. But just moving from that, I then asked the question that yes, adverse situations can form a person's character to become quite angry, resentful, have and carry a lot of trauma, but does that justify a person being a perpetrator of violence, of gender-based violence? And the answer was no. So we asked, so how do you build the bridge then? How do you make that transformation from being someone who has experienced trauma yourself, but not being one who actually continues that cycle of trauma? And the answer that they brought forward was, being in a mental institution, to allow yourself time to think, to transform, to be given the resources to change, also going for counseling, individual marriage counseling, so they were giving all the right answers. So my answer was okay, and my question was, would you then go for counseling? Because we know that a lot of especially in black communities, kuthiwa no, akho mntu uzawungenela izinto zomzi wam, ndizawuphatha ngokwam umzi wam. I am the man of this house. I decide how to run this house. I'm not going to hear from a stranger how to run my house. They don't know anything about the dynamics of this house. And the general consensus is that yes, they would actually go for counseling. So it is my sincere hope that they weren't just saying this to say it, but that it is something that they would actually consider. And also, I think them being here, in this rehab facility, allows them to actually know what counseling actually looks like. So they've already been exposed to that. They already had some of those issues addressed themselves. So it makes it easier for them to say yes, they would go, because they know what counseling entails, and also they have insight and experience into how it can actually help, So yeah, it was actually great to learn and hear that from them. One of the closing remarks, actually, also going back to the point of how poverty contributes to gender-based violence. Of course, it's a very nuanced situation, but one of the things that came out of it was that gender-based violence is not going to end. That's what they said. That gender-based violence is not going to end because as long as people are still living in poverty, being growing up in squatter camps, growing up in along the wayside like SDP, then obviously you can't expect somebody who grows up in a situation like that to act better, to be better, to have an understanding and insight of what behavior towards other human beings should look like, because they probably don't have exposure to what that's supposed to look like themselves. So yeah, that was the sad and shocking reality that they brought forward, is that as long as South Africa is in the state that it is in, it's not, gender-based violence is not going to change. So I think at an individual level, they have the intellectual insight to know that it is not okay to exercise violence, whether verbal, physical, financial, or sexual, and anybody else, but they also able to see it as a systemic result of an ill, that because of the economic situation of South Africa, these are the results that come out of it, so it is quite sad. It is quite sad, and what was sadder for me was because a lot of the triggers that allowed many of the users, or few of them, to be here was that they were victims of gender-based violence themselves. One of the patients shared how he learned of his father murdering his mother, and as a result of that, he got admitted into a psychiatric facility. So there are, yeah, it's a complex issue that needs urgent attention. Yeah, it needs urgent attention that goes beyond words, that goes beyond manifestos, that goes beyond protests, because as you can see, the burden of that of this issue on our facility, never mind the greater healthcare system, on societies and on individuals. So yeah, that's what came out of the health talk. I got a referral just now for a possible discharge. So I'm going to do that. Normally after health talk, I do like a group or individual session. So I'm going to do that individual session now. It's an individual I've seen before, but obviously they've been discharged, so they need to just do final preps. So that's what I'm going to do. And then, yeah, should be after that, it's going to be lunchtime. We'll see. But I'm not feeling hungry, so hopefully I'll be fine. Yeah, so I'm on my way to the ward now. I hope the wind is not being too disruptive. Anywho, so yeah, just a little clarification on the therapy users and who gets to come and all that. So we have like 23, around about 23 therapy users at a time, and those are the people who have been assessed to be fit enough to become a part of our programs. So yeah, according to the level of function and the motivation, and also the willingness, then they become involved in our therapy programs. So therapy programs are filmmaking, car washing, baking, art. Yeah, those are a few of them. And because they're involved in the therapy program, then part of the therapy program is the regular health talks. So that's how they get selected to be part of the health talks. So they come to our rehab department. The rest of therapy takes place in groups in the wards, addressing more specific topics, and yeah, they need to be improved because they need to be improved as well. So yeah, I'm basically I've arrived at the ward now, so let's get this patient discharged. I love discharges. Don't you love discharges? Gotta love discharges.
Insecure.
Okay, so the time now is 3 or 4, and yeah, I'm in the office around about this time, just tying some loose ends of the day together, writing outstanding notes, and planning for the next day, which is what I'm doing now. I'm meeting with the therapies again tomorrow. Tomorrow's reading group, Wednesday, and normally for reading group we do like a poem or read, or do like a thoughtful, creative activity. So yeah, I'm planning for tomorrow's reading group, and yeah, shortly after this, it's home time, and then yeah, that's all for a work day. Hi guys, welcome to the end of my day, part 2 of the day, or part 3, counting the morning session. So yeah, this part of the day is normally like always the same, especially now during lockdown. So yeah, might get another workout in if I am lucky, and then after that, just shower, supper. Luckily today I don't have to cook. Thank you God is good all the time. I say today I don't have to cook. I'm having leftover veggie pasta that I made yesterday, so I'm looking forward to that. And then after so it's quiet time, shower, quiet time, supper, and then after supper I get some work in. Well, this is the part where I will edit the video. Hopefully I'll get it out by today, because I'm cute. How cute would that be? So I'm just gonna end the video off here. I hope that you enjoyed coming to work with me, and that you learned just a little bit more about what OTs do in a psychiatric setting, long-term psychiatric setting. So I am actually really excited for the next couple of videos. So if you haven't yet subscribed and clicked the notification bell, do that, okay? Because you don't want to miss it. I'm so excited. Yes, okay. So do that, and then give this video a like, comment, share, subscribe as you should have done already. Do the things that YouTube taught you to do. Don't disappoint the internet, man. Please, and I hope that you had a fantastic day, and that you continue to do the best to do